Do you recall what Clemenceau once said about war?
No, I didn't think I do, son. No.
He said war was too important to be left to the general.
Unstoppable, fierce, and unforgettable. These 20 black actors didn't just take Hollywood by storm, they owned it. Here's my vote for the toughest icons who shattered records and broke every barrier. Number 20, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood is a name that almost everyone recognizes, especially if you're into action movies. He's the guy who made the man with no name in A Fistful of Dollars a legendary figure and turned his role as the gritty cop Dirty Harry into an icon of toughness. But Clint Eastwood's struggles didn't stop at acting. It's woven into his entire life and career. Imagine being in your 20s, flying on a military plane, and suddenly the aircraft crashes into the Pacific Ocean. You're stranded in freezing waters, miles away from land. Sounds like a scene from one of his movies, right? But this was Clint's reality. After the crash, he had to swim over a mile to safety, surviving what many would consider impossible. That kind of toughness didn't just appear on screen, it came from real-life experiences like this one. The next one is Sterling Hayden, a real-life adventurer turned Hollywood tough guy. Number 19, Sterling Hayden. Sterling Hayden's career isn't just impressive, it's one of the most interesting in Hollywood history. Known for his tough guy roles in movies like The Asphalt Jungle, 1950, and Dr. Strangelove, 1964, Sterling had this raw, commanding presence that made him perfect for tough roles. But there's more to his story than just the films. Before Hollywood came calling, Sterling lived a life of adventure that most actors couldn't even dream of. He wasn't just a guy who played a sailor on screen, he was the sailor. Sterling joined the Navy during World War II, and his service in the military showed just how tough he really was. Not only did he serve in dangerous combat zones, but he also became a sea captain. And when the war needed secret operations, well, he didn't hesitate to get involved. Imagine sneaking weapons to the resistance fighters in Yugoslavia, risking your life for a cause you believed in. Well, that's the kind of man that Sterling Hayden was. But Sterling's real toughness wasn't just about fighting battles on the high seas. He was one of the few who stood up against Hollywood blacklists. Next up, Bruce Lee, the man who brought martial arts to the world's spotlight. Number 18, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is a name that is instantly recognizable around the world, and for good reason. He wasn't just an actor, he was a martial arts legend who completely changed the way action movies were made and how martial arts were viewed in the West. Before Bruce Lee, martial arts were seen as mostly as something for background characters or villains in Hollywood films. But Bruce Lee took martial arts to the front and center, turning it into a global sensation. Bruce was born in San Francisco in 1940 and raised in Hong Kong, where he started learning martial arts at a young age. But what made Bruce Lee stand out wasn't just his fighting skills, it was his philosophy and his dedication to becoming the best. He didn't just practice martial arts, he created his own style called Jeet Kune Do, which combined different techniques from various martial arts. His idea was to take the best parts from each discipline and leave behind the unnecessary ones. It's kind of like creating your own personalized way to fight. Bruce Lee's dedication to his craft was incredible. He worked out relentlessly to get his body into peak physical condition. His workout routines were tough, combining strength training, endurance exercises, and flexibility exercises. This helped him build the power and speed that made his fight scenes look so amazing. Bruce wasn't just about looking tough, though. He was about being tough, both mentally and physically. His body was his tool, and he treated it like a finely tuned machine. Can you guess this Hollywood strongman? William Smith didn't just act tough, he was tough. Number 17, William Smith. While Bruce Lee changed the world of action cinema with his martial arts skills, William Smith brought a different kind of toughness to Hollywood. Known for his strongman physique and martial arts background, William Smith made a name for himself playing tough guy roles in movies and TV shows. He was the kind of actor who wasn't afraid to do his own stunts, making his performances more realistic and intense. Smith's journey to Hollywood stardom didn't happen overnight. Before becoming an actor, he had a background in bodybuilding and martial arts, which gave him the physical strength and skills to perform some of the most challenging action scenes. His time as a competitive bodybuilder gave him the muscles to back up the tough characters he played. His strongman physique was impossible to ignore, and it made him even stand out more in the industry full of actors who might rely on clever camera angles to appear tough. Smith, well, he didn't need any tricks. He was the real deal. Who's the next silent hero? Charles Bronson's journey from coal mines to stardom is unforgettable. Number 16, Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson didn't need much to say to leave an impression. With his rugged features and stoic demeanor, he perfectly embodied the silent, tough hero. Bronson's characters weren't loud or flashy. They were calm, collected, and always ready for action. His presence alone made it clear. He was the guy you wanted on your side. Born into a family in Pennsylvania, Bronson grew up in tough conditions. As a child, he worked in coal mines, just like his father. The grueling work and dangerous environments helped shape him into the tough, resilient person he would become. Imagine working in the mines day after day, with barely enough food and no time for leisure. That was Bronson's reality, and it built a strength that few could understand. The experience shaped his work ethic, and his unyielding determination became the foundation of his later success. Bronson's transition to Hollywood was shaped by his life experiences. He appeared in films like The Magnificent Seven, 1960, and Death Wish, 1974, playing characters who let their actions speak louder than words. Whether he was a vigilante in Death Wish or a gritty street fighter in Hard Times, 1975, Bronson's authenticity as a tough guy was undeniable. His calm demeanor and quiet intensity reflected the strength he had built throughout his life, making him a legendary figure in Hollywood. But Bronson didn't just play tough guys, he was one. After working in the coal mines, Bronson joined the U.S. Army during World War II, where he served as an airman in the Pacific Theater. His time in the war tested him in ways that would prove crucial in his later years. The mental fortitude he developed during the war added another layer of toughness to his persona. Ready for the next legend? Let's talk about Audie Murphy's incredible real-life heroism. Number 15, Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy's toughness didn't just stem from playing tough characters on screen, it was a product of his real-life heroism. Murphy was one of the most decorated soldiers in U.S. military history, earning the Medal of Honor, the highest military honor, for his bravery in World War II. Born into poverty in Texas, Murphy had a rough start. But when World War II broke out, he enlisted, despite being too small and young for the military. At just 5 feet 5 inches tall and 110 pounds, he defied expectations and became one of the most fearless soldiers on the battlefield. His remarkable acts of bravery included holding off an entire German battalion to protect his comrades during the Battle of the Colmar Pocket in France. Even though he was wounded, Murphy continued fighting until the job was done. His actions made him a legend. After the war, Murphy's life took an unexpected turn. He became a Hollywood actor. His military background made him a perfect fit for war films, and he brought a level of authenticity to his roles that only someone who had lived through combat could. His portrayal in To Hell and Back, 1955, based on his own wartime experiences, became one of the most iconic war films of all time. But Murphy didn't just play soldiers, he was one. However, like many war veterans, Murphy struggled with PTSD after returning home. The trauma of the battlefield haunted him, leading to anxiety and nightmares. Speaking of legends, up next is Arnold Schwarzenegger, a man who redefined determination. Number 14, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger's journey to becoming a Hollywood action legend is one of hard work, determination, and breaking down barriers. Arnold didn't just become a famous actor, he first became a champion bodybuilder, and that dedication to physical strength helped shape him into the icon we know of today. Born in Austria in 1947, Arnold dreamed of becoming someone great from a young age. He started weightlifting at just 15 years old, and by the time he was 20, he had already set his sights on becoming the best bodybuilder in the world. Well, actually, universe. He went on to win the prestigious Mr. Olympian competition 7 times, cementing his place as one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. But Arnold didn't stop there. He knew that his size and strength were unique assets, and he wasn't afraid to use them in Hollywood. Despite his thick accent and massive muscles, Arnold set his sights on acting, determined to make it in a world where leading men were typically more conventionally cast. His breakthrough came with The Terminator in 1984, where he played a relentless cyborg assassin. The role allowed him to showcase not only his physicality, but also his acting range. His portrayal of the Terminator became iconic, and his signature line, "I'll be back," remains one of the most memorable in film history. But the story doesn't end there. Lee Marvin brings a whole new meaning to Hollywood toughness. Number 13, Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin is another actor who brought a certain kind of toughness to Hollywood that was hard to ignore. He wasn't just playing tough characters in films like The Dirty Dozen, 1967, or Point Blank, 1967. He had real-life experiences that made his on-screen roles feel real. Lee Marvin's story is one that's full of grit, resilience, and determination, all of which made him the perfect tough guy in Hollywood. Marvin was born in 1924 in New York City, and as a young man, he enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II. He fought in the Pacific and was wounded during the Battle of Saipan, which earned him a Purple Heart. This experience had a huge impact on him and shaped the kind of person he would become. When Marvin returned to civilian life after the war, he used his experience to give depth to the roles he played. His time in the military gave him a unique perspective that allowed him to bring a level of authenticity to his performances that most actors could never achieve. Marvin's acting career began in the 1950s, and he quickly made a name for himself playing tough, no-nonsense characters. He was known for his gravelly voice, intense gaze, and overall commanding presence. Whether he was playing a hardened soldier in The Dirty Dozen or a cold-blooded criminal in Point Blank, Marvin's roles were defined by his physicality and emotional depth. His background in the military also influenced how he approached his roles. When he starred in The Dirty Dozen, for example, he was able to draw on his own combat experience to bring his character to life in a way that felt real and believable. And now, buckle up for Vin Diesel, whose journey from bouncer to superstar will amaze you. Number 12, Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's rise to fame is one of Hollywood's most inspiring stories. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Diesel didn't come from a typical acting background. He didn't grow up in Hollywood, and he wasn't born in a family of famous actors either. In fact, Diesel's early life was pretty ordinary, but he made his way into the industry by using his real-life grit and determination. Before he became a household name, Diesel worked as a bouncer in New York City. If you've ever watched the Fast and Furious movies, you know that Diesel's character, Dominic Toretto, is all about strength, street smarts, and loyalty. That tough persona didn't just come from acting, it came from Diesel's own real-life experiences. Working as a bouncer, he learned how to handle difficult situations, stay calm under pressure, and navigate the rougher sides of life. Diesel's big break came when he wrote, directed, and starred in his own short film, Multifacial, 1995, which explored racial identity. This film caught the attention of Steven Spielberg, who then cast him in Saving Private Ryan in 1998. From there, Diesel's career skyrocketed. He became known for his role as the tough and charismatic Dominic Toretto in the Fast and Furious franchise. Over the years, Diesel became one of Hollywood's most recognizable and respected actors, with his deep voice and imposing physical presence becoming trademarks of his on-screen persona. The success of the Fast and Furious movies made Diesel an action movie legend, but his journey to stardom wasn't without its challenges. Diesel had to prove himself in an industry that wasn't always welcoming to someone like him, especially in the early 2000s. However, he didn't let that stop him. His determination, his work ethic, and his ability to perform his own stunts made him stand out from the other actors. He didn't just play the tough guy, he lived it. Whether he was racing cars, getting into fight scenes, or pulling off incredible stunts, Diesel showed that he was willing to put in the hard work to make his characters as real and tough as possible. But next, let's see how James Coburn paved his own path to action stardom. Number 11, James Coburn. James Coburn is one of Hollywood's most respected tough guy actors, known for his martial arts skills and unforgettable roles in action films. Coburn was a true fighter, both on-screen and off, which made him a standout in a world full of tough actors. He starred in iconic films like The Magnificent Seven, 1960, and The Great Escape, 1963. But what really set him apart was his martial arts experience and his ability to overcome major physical challenges. Coburn's journey to becoming an action star wasn't an easy one, though. He was a martial artist who studied under Bruce Lee, learning different techniques that gave him an edge when it came to physical roles. His fighting skills added a layer of authenticity to his performances that you could see in movies like Our Man Flint, 1966, where Coburn played a suave, action hero-type character. But as tough as his on-screen performance was, Coburn faced serious personal battles off-screen, particularly with his health. As Coburn reached middle age, he was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, a disease that causes pain and swelling in the joints. This condition could have easily sidelined his career, but instead, Coburn showed what true resilience meant. Now, let's move on to another iconic actor known for his complexity, Jason Statham. Number 10, Jason Statham. If you've seen any action-packed movie in the last couple of decades, well, chances are you've seen Jason Statham. He's become one of Hollywood's most reliable action stars, known for performing his own stunts and bringing a gritty, tough persona to every role he plays. But what many people don't know is that Statham didn't just become an action superstar overnight. His journey to Hollywood fame was built on years of real-life physical training and sports experience. Before Statham ever stepped foot on a movie set, he had already proven himself in the world of sports. He was a competitive diver and even worked as a model before landing his first big break in film. But it was his background in martial arts, kickboxing, and diving that set him apart from the other actors. Statham used his physical skills to perform his own stunts in films like The Transporter, 2002, and Crank, 2006, making his action scenes not just believable, but thrilling to watch. What really makes Statham stand out is his dedication to staying in shape and constantly pushing his limits. Let's dive into the fascinating career of Richard Widmark. Number 9, Richard Widmark. Richard Widmark was a man of many talents, but his most famous trait was his ability to play complex, tough characters in films that often required a deep emotional range. Widmark didn't just play tough guys, he made those tough characters feel real. He could easily play villains or soldiers, but he also had the ability to make you feel for the character, even if they were doing things you didn't agree with. Widmark's career started with a bang when he played a sadistic killer in the movie Kiss of Death, 1947, which earned him an Academy Award nomination. It was in his roles like these that Widmark really made his mark as a tough guy. But what set him apart from other tough actors was that he didn't just play a tough exterior. He often portrayed characters that had an emotional depth to them, making them more than just one-dimensional figures. In films like The Alamo in 1960 and Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961, he portrayed characters who were dealing with moral dilemmas and inner conflicts. These roles required more than just toughness. They demanded vulnerability and humanity. Off-screen, Widmark was known for being principled and staying true to his craft. He wasn't the type to chase fame or the glitz of Hollywood. Instead, he focused on acting with integrity, often choosing roles that aligned with his personal values. Do you know that Chuck Norris became a legend through real martial arts skills and discipline? Number 8, Chuck Norris. When you think of Chuck Norris, you probably think of one thing: toughness. Well, Chuck Norris didn't just become a household name because of his action films or his TV show Walker, Texas Ranger, 1993 to 2001. He became a cultural icon because of his personal discipline and his ability to embody the idea of toughness in everything he did. Norris didn't start as an actor. He started in martial arts, where he became a world champion in multiple disciplines. He earned black belts in Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, among others. His martial arts background gave him the real skills to bring authenticity to his on-screen roles. When he starred in films like Way of the Dragon, 1972, where he faced off against Bruce Lee, or in his own action films like The Delta Force, 1986, and Missing in Action, 1984, Norris brought more than just acting to the table. He brought real martial arts expertise that made his character seem unstoppable. But Chuck Norris wasn't just tough on screen. He's known for his personal discipline and tough guy mentality off screen too. His life is a testament to hard work, focus, and overcoming obstacles. In addition to being a martial arts champion, Norris served in the U.S. Air Force and used his platform to teach self-defense and promote discipline and confidence. His reputation as a tough guy became so ingrained in popular culture that he became the subject of countless internal memes with jokes about how Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups, he pushes the earth down. Now that we've covered Chuck Norris, let's move on to another icon of toughness, Danny Trejo. Number 7, Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo is a true inspiration. His story is about redemption, strength, and resilience. Before he became one of Hollywood's most iconic tough guy actors, Danny had a very different life. He grew up in a tough neighborhood and made some bad choices as a young man, which led him to spend time in prison. But instead of letting his past define him, Danny used it as fuel to change his life. His journey is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to turn things around. When Danny Trejo was released from prison, he was determined to make a fresh start. He didn't want to go back to his old ways, so he got involved in recovery programs and worked hard to stay on the right path. Eventually, Danny's efforts paid off when he found work as a film extra. It wasn't long before Danny was cast in bigger roles, thanks to his tough appearance and intense presence. His breakthrough came when he was cast in the movie Desperado in 1995, where he played a character named Buck. The role was small, but it showed Hollywood that Danny had the acting chops to be more than just a background actor. What made Danny stand out was how much of himself he brought out in his roles. He wasn't just playing a tough guy on screen. He was drawing from his own life experiences to portray characters with a gritty authenticity. He later became famous for his role as the title character in Machete, 2010, where he played a former hitman seeking revenge. The movie was over the top, but it also showcased Danny's natural ability to play tough characters who weren't afraid to stand up for what was right. Speaking of resilience, let's shift gears and talk about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's rise to stardom. Number 6, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the most successful actors in Hollywood today, but his journey to stardom wasn't easy. Before he became a global movie star, Dwayne made a name for himself in the world of professional wrestling. As a WWE champion, he became known for his charisma, physical strength, and larger-than-life persona. He was already a tough guy, but Dwayne's real resilience came when he decided to leave wrestling and pursue an acting career. It wasn't an easy transition. At first, many people didn't take him seriously as an actor. They saw him as just a wrestler who was trying to act. But Dwayne didn't let that stop him. He worked hard to prove everyone wrong. His big break came when he was cast in The Scorpion King, 2002, a role that showcased his physicality and charm. From there, his career skyrocketed. He starred in the Fast and the Furious franchise, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, 2017, and Hercules, 2014, becoming one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. What's really impressive about Dwayne's career, though, is how he's overcome personal and professional obstacles. Early in his wrestling career, he faced major setbacks, including being cut from the Canadian Football League. Instead of letting that derail his dreams, he used it as a motivation to work harder. He also dealt with criticism and skepticism from people who doubted his acting skills. But Dwayne's resilience, hard work, and determination helped him prove that he wasn't just a wrestler or a football player, he was a bona fide movie star. Next, let's dive into the legendary Ernest Borgnine. Number 5. Ernest Borgnine. Ernest Borgnine is one of Hollywood's legendary tough guy actors, but what made him special was his ability to bring depth and complexity to his roles. Known for his roles in films like Marty, 1955, and The Wild Bunch, 1969, Ernest portrayed tough, often morally complex characters. What set him apart from other tough characters was his ability to make you feel for the characters he played. Whether he was portraying a lonely man looking for love in Marty, or a hard-as-nails cowboy in The Wild Bunch, Ernest brought a level of humanity to his characters that made them memorable. Borgnine didn't just play tough guys, he was a tough guy. Born in 1917, he served in the U.S. Navy during World War II, which helped shape his on-screen persona. His service in the Navy wasn't just a footnote in his life, though. It was an experience that defined him for later years. Let's take a step back and appreciate Dave Bautista's legendary performances. Number 4. Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is best known for his role as Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, but his story is much more than just playing a superhero. Before Bautista became a Hollywood star, he was a professional wrestler in WWE, where he earned multiple championships. But making the leap from the wrestling ring to the silver screen wasn't easy. Bautista faced a lot of skepticism and doubt from those who didn't think that he had what it took to make it in Hollywood. But Dave didn't let the critics get to him. He worked hard to prove them wrong. He took acting classes and made sure that he was ready for every opportunity. His breakout role came when he was cast as Drax, the tough yet lovable alien warrior in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. His performance was so impressive that he went on to star in other films like Blade Runner 2049 and Army of the Dead. Number 3. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster was a Hollywood legend known for his physicality and emotional depth. A former circus acrobat, Lancaster brought a level of agility and physicality to his roles that was rare for actors of his time. He performed many of his own stunts, especially in the films like The Crimson Pirate in 1952, where he displayed his acrobatic skills. His background in circus acrobatics made him stand out from other actors, as he was able to incorporate his unique skill set into his roles. What made Burt Lancaster stand out, though, wasn't just his physical toughness, it was the emotional complexity he brought to his characters. In films like From Here to Eternity in 1953 and Elmer Gantry 1960, Lancaster showed his ability to portray characters who were tough but also struggling with inner conflicts. Let's take a closer look at the unstoppable Idris Elba. Number 2. Idris Elba. Idris Elba is a Hollywood powerhouse known for his incredible versatility. Whether he's playing a troubled detective in Luther or a massive battle-ready hero in Pacific Rim, Idris brings a level of toughness and resilience to every role he plays. His career shows that toughness isn't just about being strong or rough around the edges, it's about mental strength, physical endurance, and the willingness to tackle any challenge. Idris first gained widespread attention for his role as Stringer Bell in The Wire, a TV show about life in Baltimore's dangerous neighborhoods. His portrayal of a tough yet smart drug lord showcased his ability to play complex, gritty characters. But it was his role in Luther, where he played a troubled but dedicated detective, that really cemented his reputation as a tough actor. Elba's portrayal of Luther is filled with raw emotion and a strong sense of justice, making him a character that viewers couldn't help but root for despite his flaws. But Idris isn't just tough because of his on-screen persona. In real life, he has had to prove his toughness through the obstacles he faced as an actor in a tough industry. Number 1. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke is one of the most compelling stories of resilience in Hollywood. A former boxer turned actor, Rourke faced a series of personal and professional challenges that seemed impossible to overcome. Yet, through it all, he showed a level of toughness that most people couldn't even imagine. Rourke's early career in Hollywood skyrocketed. He became a rising star in films like 9½ Weeks, 1986, and Angel Heart, 1987. But his career took a sharp downturn due to personal issues, including his struggles with addiction and a series of physical injuries from boxing. Rourke had to take time off from acting to focus on his health, both physical and mental. What makes Mickey Rourke stand out is his ability to make a successful comeback, though. After years of battling personal demons, including addiction and a series of facial surgeries due to boxing injuries, Rourke returned to Hollywood with a vengeance. His role in The Wrestler, 2008, a movie about a washed-up professional wrestler, earned him critical acclaim and a nomination for an Academy Award. His performance was a powerful reminder of his acting talent, and it also showcased his physical resilience. Despite his setbacks, Rourke returned to acting and proved that toughness means never giving up, no matter how difficult the journey. And that wraps up my list of the 20 toughest black actors in Hollywood history. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.